Welcome, everybody, back to Late Night Snacks. We are so glad that you guys have joined us here today as we are here as Snacks goes to the theater one more time. And
one more time.
tonight, we are headed all the way down
Boom, boom.
to Hadestown.
Oh, keep your head low. Oh, you gotta keep your head low if you want to keep your head.
I will be your questionable host along this ride, Irish Melly, along with the knowledgeable That Guy and his sidekick, DeWanda.
Hey, everybody.
I'm wearing black because we're going to hell.
All black
Going to
today.
hell.
I did a black and pink eyeshadow for you guys. So I was like, that'll be a little appropriate.
So we are talking the one and
only. Oh, yes. Let's discuss.
2019, the last best musical of the year was 2019 Hadestown, the former current rating title holder of the best musical of the year. However, we are getting Tonys this year. We are getting the Tony Awards.
But wait, I was going to say, is that biased because we haven't been able to have any new shows?
We are getting it, though.
I have no idea what they're nominating. I mean, nominations are out. I haven't even looked at
it. Yeah, nominations are all over the place, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm so interested to see what comes out and how they're going to do it.
Yeah, we
can make it fair, you know what I mean?
But it's just going to be like everything else, digitally, what they've been doing.
It's just this year's been so unfair to so many people. So it's like, let's
do
a nice, fun, fair thing.
Yep. So, yeah, we'll cover the Tony Awards for sure. But so 2019's Best Picture Award, it also won 8 Tonys, correct me if I'm wrong?
Yes, it did. It won a total of 8, including Best Musical. It won Best Musical. It won Best Direction. It won Best Original Score. It also won Best Actor Featured in a Limited Role.
Right.
And the actor that won that was Andre DeShields. He's the one who plays Hermes.
If you don't know Andre originated the role of the Wizard in The Wiz.
Yes.
Broadway version of The Wiz.
Okay.
And then we have Best Scenic Design, Best Lighting Design, and finally Best Orchestration.
Not nominations.
Those are all wins. Yeah,
like
they won a total.
You know what? Real quick, let's give a hand to them for that because that is a feat right there.
Oh, amazing.
That is not
the most nominations
usually or often done.
So this show is a brand new show, which is really, really refreshing for Broadway. It's not a remake of a Disney musical. It's not a revival of a different show. It's not a retelling of something else. It is a brand new original piece by a new original composer and lyricist. Her name is Andres Mitchell, and she is female, and she originated this piece of music. It's completely sung through, and she originated the original concept of it just with a bunch of music friends that she had. And when they all got together, they toyed around with it. They decided to do a concept album, just like Angela Weber did with Jesus Christ Superstar, and other
Hamilton and all of that. Hamilton did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the mixtape, yeah. So it had a concept album, and then they started eyeing it to the stage. It did not have Broadway aspirations in the beginning. It had very, very small aspirations. Andres always kept it very small. She always kept her realities, right in front of her. She said she wanted it so bad by the time they got to it, but she never envisioned it. She wasn't there in the beginning. And so she kept her limitations very low, which is smart as survival technique that a lot of people in the arts do. And so they started toying around with the theatrical run of it, and it went to several little community theaters, but it was the National Theater, one was real famous off-Broadway community theater that it landed in for a while, and that's where it got its home. And those, if you don't know anything about Broadway, Broadway, then you have off-Broadway, and then you have these community theaters, and these community theaters are funded by the communities that where they're at, and there's a lot of love and support in just that hometown, that's my theater kind of feel. and they gravitate towards these new shows and really just absolutely take care of the shows. They make sure they get the funding for it. They make sure they get the word out. They make sure they get all the advertising support for the actors, everything, until they can build enough following and enough reviews to get a major producer or a theater owner to look at them for Broadway or off Broadway. People do have aspirations for off Broadway. It is a prestige just in itself.
Yeah.
But the Hamilton found has had it start in the community theater. It was the same theater that Chorus Line had it start in. So a lot of these shows do it. A lot of these huge blockbuster shows start there. This is not an easy journey, and this is not a quick journey.
We're talking off Broadway right now. We're not talking Broadway. We're talking
off.
Okay.
It's not even off Broadway. It's off. It's community theater.
Off Broadway.
Even further off. So, this is like that underground Broadway.
This in the early 2000s, I believe. So this is over a decade of someone's life. Just once again, everything of this woman's life became, the show. Luckily, she was very lucky early on in the process that she befriended the now Tony Award-winning director. Her name is
Rachel. Was it Rachel? I cannot pronounce her last name. I know I'm going to butcher it.
Yeah, don't butcher it. Rachel somewhere. We'll put it on the screen. And they've been a team. They've been an absolute team. Rachel took this project on exactly the same way as Andres had wrote it, as if it was her creation as well. And Andres opened her heart to it that way. And they have been a collaborative team from the start. Nobody else has touched this project except for these two women as far as a creative force. And it shows. And also what they were able to withstand with longevity is a lot of the key players signed on very early on to start doing these workshops. Patrick Page, who plays Hades, and what's her face that plays Persephone? Amber Gray. Amber Gray, yeah. She plays Persephone. They were on from the very beginning, and they've grown. They've learned to develop these parts together. As a couple, as they are in the main couple in the show, and so it's an amazing project to see. I mean, there's quite a few videos, documentaries out there that show just theater and how it can start from the ground up and really gets way. So, there's Ava.
Here we have
the cast.
Here it is. This is the cast, the main cast.
And then we'll tell us about.
All right.
What?
Here's Ava.
Yeah.
Now they've only had a chance to stay with the main cast because it was only a year run, right? Which generally the same cast stays usually with a year run, right?
No, that's on Broadway. No, this is years. We're talking years.
They've been working with this for years.
They could be out there for 10 years. Yeah.
This is Patrick Page, who plays the role of Hades.
Well, I have seen him in the role of Frollo in Hunchback of Notre Dame. He's great.
Mm-hmm. There's the cast picture. And then we have Andre DeShields, who plays Hermes.
The Tony Award winner.
Mm-hmm.
Reeve, we'll talk about Reeve in a minute.
There's Reeve. Mm-hmm. He plays Orpheus.
Orpheus.
We have Amber Gray. I love her. She plays the part of Persephone. Who am I missing?
Did you get the Fates? The Fates? You didn't get. There's three women who play the Fates. They're also considered principals.
I did not get that. I was not able to get them. No.
So the three women. There's also three actresses that play the Fates, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
They actually play their own live instruments in the show as the Fates. And so what is this about? We keep saying all these Greek names. Yes, it is based on two different Greek tragedies.
Yes, I was going to say, please explain to me what is it based on. Give me a synopsis.
Yeah, there you go. So it's two different Greek tragedies. Okay, you have the main one. I consider the umbrella, the main overseer, just like he is the overlord. Is you have the story of Persephone, and not the story of Hades and Persephone. People get that mixed up. This is Persephone's story, and her story is that she fell in love with. I don't know if she fell in love with Hades originally. Made a deal with Hades, something like that. Anyway, they ended up married.
He fell in love with her.
Okay, yeah, but I don't know if she fell in love with him. She's
right. I don't know. It wasn't really stated.
So all I know their marriage ended up. she ended up resenting their marriage, and Hades agreed to let her down one season a year. And that season,
Only
when she
one?
was let down,
Only one.
that season when she was let down, that was spring, right?
Springtime.
Springtime.
Mhm.
And that means
Springtime.
she became the goddess of like the Mother Earth, or the regrowth of rebirth. And so when Persephone was down on Earth, crops were growing, and weather was great, and things were able to flourish. As soon as Hades plucked her from Earth to put her back in the underground, that's when winter came. Things were cold
She was,
again.
she was allowed to be down. She was allowed to be up there for 6 months
6 months.
out of the year.
Yeah.
And the rest
So
of
you
the time,
got her
Year.
spring and summer, and then in fall and winter, she was back in Hades. But she was always, she accepted that, and she was always willing to work with Hades. And she worked with Hades in the underground. She took her 6 months. She made the world flourish. So that's a huge story on its own in Greek mythology, but that's kind of the umbrella story that you have in the show. And then you have the story of Orpheus and Euryphides.
Eurydice.
And this has changed quite significantly from its Greek mythology, but it still holds the same heart. Basically, Orpheus' story is because she's not as important in the Greek mythology. When you look at Orpheus' story, it's really about Orpheus, and
Right.
her story is told differently every single time you listen to it. It's like
Mhm.
basically she is bitten by a snake somewhere, somehow, somewhere after they have already either married or on their marriage night or on their honeymoon night. At some point after they have already married or right at the marriage, she's bitten by a snake and dies. And when she's bitten by a snake and dies, Orpheus is left absolutely crestfallen and heartbroken. And so he decides that he's going to challenge the gods, and he's going to go up there and tell Zeus, what the hell, fix this for me. Because remember, he's half god.
Right.
Demigods.
Demigods.
His father is Apollo. And so he goes up there, and Zeus says, I ain't fucking with Hades shit. No, you can't. No, I'm not asking it. So he does. Orpheus is brave enough to challenge. Oh, God, that was your. I was like, why there's a cat in my house? Good guts.
It's mine.
So Orpheus does that. He challenges and goes down and challenges every obstacle. He's got a whole obstacle course down the way to hell. With a 3-headed dog, and also there's a lot of Harry Potter stuff. Got his inspiration from that. And he meets up with Hades, and Hades like, dude, what are you doing here? You broke into our place, blah blah blah. And Orpheus he says, I'm here to get my wife, and he's like, damn, you are. And he's like, yeah, I am. And he goes, all right, you got to win it. You got to win her back.
You got to earn it.
By doing that, you've got to prove that you can alter hell or some shit, and he starts to play that song, and that song that he's been playing is so melancholy and so just heart-wrenching that all the obstacles fall by the way, and Hades softens and Persephone softens, and he says, all right, you go, but I on one condition, I'm still going to hold the cards to this. When you go, she follows behind you, and you cannot look back to see if she's still there until you guys.
If you look back, she has to come. She has to stay.
If you look back, you blew it, and she stays here forever, and you go on forever. Well, he looks back, and he blows it, and just like Greek tragedy, he blows it,
and she ends up having to stay.
And then this is where
now she's mad at him. It's not just his loss; she mad at him.
Yeah, well, that just wraps their story in the musical. Orpheus' story goes on, and basically the importance of Orpheus in Greek mythology is Orpheus becomes the poet. Love poems and love sonnets were created from Orpheus' loss, because he in his melancholy through all the rest of his life, he kept writing these sonnets and these love things and stuff to all of these tragedies that people were doing, but people fell in love with the songs, and that's why we all love these heartbreaking love songs. But it comes from a place of tragedy. But Orpheus made them so beautiful that he was finally granted, when he dies, he was granted to be reunited with her. So he got anyway, and they lived happily ever after, wherever they were bumping uglies back then. Okay, so the play is really unique.
The little demigod babies.
The musical is extremely unique because it takes place, and if anybody's into this show, correct me if I'm wrong, but it takes place, I believe, in the Great Depression era. And like a speakeasy.
I believe so. Yeah.
This technique has been done many times since in Broadway before, but I think it really, really works here. And Once on This Island did the same technique. And basically, what it is a group of people have gathered in their own despair, to get their mind off shit, to tragedy that's going on around them, and they decide to tell the tale of this great tragedy. And so they tell this whole tale in this bar. and they're in this bar, and there's all the musicians are in the bar, and the Fates who play the Fates, and basically Andre comes out as Hermes. He declares himself the role of Hermes, the storyteller, the narrator, and he starts pointing to people in the bar, telling them, you're going to be Orpheus, and you're going to be this, and they just start improv.
And they start telling the story.
And at the end, when it's all said and done, she looks back and they dies and everything. He turns to the crowd as if the crowd was part of this the entire time. Well, it opens up with him addressing the crowd as if you're welcome to this party. We're let's keep our mind off the crap that's going on outside. You're welcome to this. And at the end, he readdresses us and says, that's what tragedy is. Tragedy is a story that must be told, and it must be told the same, the same results each and every time, so that we learn, to not repeat. And yet this story will be told again and again and again, and it will never change. And then the musical starts over, because it's going to be told again and again and again. And that's how it is.
I get it. It's representing, like you said, that circle that never ends, that over and over.
And the stage is a round stage. It's a round stage like they did on Hamilton, which I actually like that stage a lot, because
you see a lot more. There's a lot more. The movement, I noticed the flow is so much easier.
And you don't have to deal with a lot of
natural.
Yeah, and you don't have to deal with a lot of set pieces or anything like that. They keep it very natural.
It's the bar, yeah. And their centerpiece. Would you stop?
Well, too many set pieces can take away from the story too, because your focus is on these wonderful grand structures.
Let me tell you, some musicals try. This set, actually, the centerpiece, the round piece, it goes up and down like an elevator. To hell, which is neat. So the whole show is up on a big rise, and because usually in Broadway, when you're in the mezzanine stuff, you're looking down on a show. These are small theaters in New York that you're kind of like there with the show. You see recordings of it, and people that are up on the slope are kind of looking at it, because the stage must be really high.
There's an amphitheater like that near me that we go to that is amazing acoustically. It's like one of the best in the country, and it's similar to that, very similar, where it's the way they do it, because it's all lawn, but then they have chairs. It's outdoors. It's an outdoor amphitheater. So like they have a main stage, but then they have a slim stage, and then they have like a smaller main stage, like out in the center of the lawn, which is really cool. Because like you said, you feel like even though you're usually far away, you actually get to be part of that experience.
I've seen theaters that have like a pit almost, that audiences in the pit.
Yeah.
I've seen theaters with catwalks that go up. It was really neat, the creativity that people do with theaters. This one, the way they designed this one, I think personally, this was designed so that the show can be seen anywhere, that it can go anywhere, that it can adapt anywhere, because you don't need the thing to go up and down. And if you do, they're going to bring it, because that comes with their set. It's not part of the stage. It's set.
Right.
So
it's very intimate, because there isn't a huge cast.
Nope.
It's just there's the main players, and you've got some background players, and the band and everything, because they're all on the same stage.
The whole time, nobody leaves the stage.
Nobody leaves the stage.
That's really cool.
As if they're all in the bar telling the story.
So now, do you have multiple people, or do you have some people playing multiple characters?
No, not this.
No, everybody has their own individual character. Then
you have the 5 principals. You have Hermes as the
which
narrator.
would make sense if nobody leaves the stage, but there would be like a smaller area I could see where you take off a certain layer and you have another costume or something.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's 5 principals, and then there's the other 3 girls, which I was not able to get pictures of.
So you got the narrator Hermes, who also is the caretaker of Orpheus. Then you have Orpheus in Eurydice, and then you have Persephone and Hades. And
because Hermes is the messenger.
Persephone and Hades are up on a balcony in the bar, overlooking the bar, which is really cool. But then you have the 3 fates, the 3 women in the bar that are kind of musicians. They bring forward, and they're basically like the Greek choir, and the fates, and they tell the story. Everybody else is just a bar patron who just acts as a chorus member in the background.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of times, because I've seen that before, where people have tried that that trope with this, like you said, the speakeasy type of trope, and it doesn't always work out. It sometimes feels way too forced.
Well,
Yeah, this doesn't feel forced. This
That's
is actually a lot of
what
fun.
I'm talking about is usually when you have a group of they do the whole. It's just a group of people gathered to tell a story. Doesn't necessarily have to be speakeasy or any type of environment. But when it doesn't work is when you've got big special effects and big lavish set pieces, and when it becomes a big fantasy of whatever.
Exactly.
Once on this island, but once on this island that was on Broadway right before this one, it was set in this theater in the round. The way Michael Arden staged that one was it was after a hurricane, and these people were in tragedy, speaking of their lives in Haiti, and they decided to teach this little girl the story of hope, and then they also told the story of the little girl.
And the only special effects that they use in this musical is basically they use smoke and lights. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Smoke and lights.
But you can get a lot of emotion and a lot of just a whole story across, just even with lighting, let alone lighting in.
If you lose yourself in the story, you forget that they're in a bar. If you want to choose to look at them in the bar, you see them in the bar the whole time. Either way, you can view it that way. It's really neat. There's no Greek costume. There's no Greek anything. There's nothing that says Greek in here at all. It's all that speakeasy kind of dress and talk and celebration. And you can tell it's just what really comes across. And what's so special about it, and just like Once on this Island, is it comes across that these people are hurting and they need each other to get them through. And by telling this story, tells the emotion to get them one more day through this tragedy.
Which is interesting because the whole story of, this musical is about Greek mythology, being told obviously in a different, unique, new way, but it's about the core of it is Greek mythology. And like you said, and the thing is that the reason we're still talking about Greek mythology is because those were stories that have been passed down through the generations to teach and to inspire and encourage.
On This Is Us last night, or the night before, they said that, our lives are shaped by tragedy.
Yes.
It's what we do in between tragedy, that is meaningful. And, that Sean Randall, his family, right, that's what you made out of tragedy.
Right.
So it's funny that we're talking about this, but that's why these musicals that focus on tragedy in the background and story of hope really work. And Aladdin was the same way. The musical Aladdin is the same way. The Broadway, not the Broadway, the animated musical. That's how it opens up. Aladdin opens up with a bunch of storytellers.
Well, and that's why musicals that focus on tragedy happen to be my favorite ones, because there's just so much.
I like a good cry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what, guys? I have to say, it only took 23 minutes, and you've convinced me. I want to see it now.
Yeah,
You've definitely convinced me. It will be worth my time.
The music is very jazzy, almost
jazzy.
I've heard some of the music. I've heard you play it a little bit. So I was like, oh, I'll look up a little bit just to see what the feel of it, the tempo, because that's what catches me as a rhythm. It has to be the right rhythm. And if it's a good rhythm, I'm all in. And from what I listened to, it sounded really good. It has a lot of good melodies, good rhythm.
Like Hamilton. It's got several songs that just catch you.
Yeah, they are. They're very catchy.
Now
Broadway this last year was like that. Broadway's really gotten away from the big operatic kind of stuff, and either
that was in the 90s, 80s.
Yeah, it's 80s, but it's really about a genre of music now, a style of music, a tone they're looking for, and they want you singing as much as possible. It's really neat. So.
Now this musical debuted on Broadway. It opened on April 17th, 2019.
And I was supposed to go December 2019.
Yep.
I was looking at seats.
So this is a fairly new musical. It's a little over a year old.
And it was already going to start its tour. Supposed to come here. No.
But we highly recommend that you see it.
We will all have to wait patiently and take our turns going to see this one, because it definitely sounds like one to not miss.
I really worry about it. This is not one of the big guns that's sitting on the bank of $1 billion. This is a new musical from a new songwriter. Um, because it's Tony winner, it may have.
I was going to say, with all the awards, though, I would not be worried about this. It has done something that most musicals can only dream of doing.
Yeah, it's true. But with what we're dealing with right now, everything is
oh yeah, everything has reason to worry. I think eventually we will see a good comeback, and people are going to want what they had that they were comfortable with before everything got shut down. You know what I mean? And then we'll start adding in new things and more creative things, because there's going to be an explosion of creativity in the market everywhere in entertainment as soon as there's more lifting of things, and there's a little bit more.
I did hear Eva Noblezada said at one point in the interview just recently that the entire cast, the original Broadway company, are signed to go back. So cast is set.
Good.
That's really good.
Will the investors have the money to relaunch the show? That's the problem. And
let's hope.
That's what
we will have to cross our fingers and wait and see, right?
And this tour never kicked off, so they didn't have the revenue from the tour. Yeah. So, we'll see what happens. But they're all signed. They're all behind it. They all love and support this project, and they're all behind it. So let's talk about the two principals, Ava and Reed, really quick, where they come from. Ava Noblezada was the Broadway revival's Kim in Miss Saigon, and she won a Tony Award for Kim. She was basically the new Lea Salonga. She was the recreation of exactly history repeating itself with Lea Salonga. And Eva Noblezada is going to be huge.
She is amazing.
She is out. She's already doing film. She's got a movie that's getting ready to open up. It's called Yellow Rose.
Yellow Rose.
I'm so disappointed that they're only putting it in theaters. And this is a movie that could have gone to some streaming service and done really well. But it's a movie, and Lea Salonga is in Yellow Rose as well.
I say this out loud. I don't know how I feel about the soundtrack for this one.
Oh, Yellow Rose?
I'm kind of iffy on it.
It's country music. That's why it's not Broadway. It's country. I think there's a couple of really beautiful songs on there.
There is.
From what I've seen from the preview, Ava's amazing. Ava looks absolutely amazing in this film. So she really launched her when she was found for Miss Saigon. That was her first major role. She was like she's like 17 years old, auditioning from a high school, and now here she is. Have been nominated for 2 different Tony Awards, in the first 2 major Broadway roles of her career. She's done several different tours in Les Mis, and now she's going on to do major feature films. She's huge. Reeve was Spider-Man in Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, the Broadway, the failed disaster U2 Bono written and penned musical about Spider-Man. That was, if you ever, we should talk that musical one day when we do the show. We'll do it on a Wednesday matinee. But that show, the failures of that show was just like, it's a cult classic to know how badly this thing failed and how dangerously this thing failed. People got hurt on this show. There was people sued on this show. And it closed, as quickly as it opened. And it was sad because Bono and the Edge wrote the show. Bono and the Edge wrote Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. And Julie Taymor, whose success as Best Director for Lion King, was one that directed it. And this thing was a mess. An absolute disaster. He tarnished the Spider-Man name for a long time. Reeve was Spider-Man in that. That's where he's come from. So it's so fascinating to see him relaunch his career with this and to be so successful in this role because he had such a tainted problem with Spider-Man. Yeah. And Reeve and Ava found love, which is scandalous for them because Ava was married.
Ava was married, yep.
Yeah.
Oops.
So there you go. Patrick Page, he's an old stable. Like Andre, Patrick Page is amazing in anything he does. I'm really surprised. Patrick Page is probably next to Andre the biggest name in this show, and I'm surprised Patrick Page was one of the longest ones signed for this whole thing. He's been doing the workshop since the very beginning, so I'm surprised he let go of work this whole time, because a lot of times they don't get paid that well for workshops. They're just supporting somebody else to get through it. And he, Patrick Page was recently on the Hunchback tour. Well, not recently. How many years ago was that? But he's amazing.
And his singing voice is amazing. Oh,
real low baritone.
Oh, okay.
How he can get down that low is beyond me.
Andre
Some people just got it, man.
Andre's a more older, majestic,
a natural talent.
Billy Porter. Andre reminds me of Billy Porter, like a generation before Billy Porter. He's amazing. Andre's amazing. And Amber Gray, She was in something that I know, and I don't know what it is, but I think she's the best actress in the show.
That's
She
kind of an oxymoron there, Michael.
No, I do. I just
know,
can't
but I don't remember what it is.
She's well known for something, and I'd have to look it up, and then I'd be like, oh yeah. But as far as her acting skills, because I always consider Broadway musicals that are completely sung, it's acting through song, and some people can't do the two, and some people don't do the two well. Some people sing amazing, but they're not getting everything across. Amber is the best acting through song performer of this musical, in my opinion.
Plus, she's a really good dancer too.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
So there we go.
So that's Hadestown in a nutshell.
I don't know. There are some recordings on Broadway or on YouTube that are really good. Don't report them.
Yes, there are.
Them. If you've not seen Hadestown, there are two different pro recordings of it. Soundtrack. There's the original concept album that you can get as easily as you can get the original Broadway cast album. And they're both available on iTunes and everywhere else. They're very different. The concept album has grown a lot to become what Hadestown is. But there you go. Hadestown. Go to hell.
With that, we hope that you guys have enjoyed it. We also want to say, if you guys did enjoy it, please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the little bell so that you're notified every single time that we upload, which is multiple times a week. And please be sure to come back Saturday, as we will be having our Halloween party. We will be having an AHS themed costume contest Halloween live stream party. It's a mouthful, but we will be doing it. It will be fun. The link to the link to our group, our Facebook group, Late Night Chaos, is in the description below this video. Make sure you guys click and go there and post your pictures of you in your best AHS inspired costume. Be creative with it. Throw on your best AHS gear and just come and enjoy yourselves. And just know that, hey, if you've got black or white makeup and a trench coat, you could be Tate. If you've got a crown, you could be queen for the day. I don't know. Just think about secondary characters. Think about background characters. Think about things that, most people wouldn't think of. Just be creative with it, because the whole point is we just want to have some fun quarantine style. With that, we will see you guys on Saturday, Halloween, back here at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. I have been one of your hosts, Iris Melly, along with DeWanda and that guy. We will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
I'm coming.
And be naughty, not nice.